So tell me, what's the difference between this and this?
Since then, I've become a devout follower of the Prophet Muhammad.
Other than the fact that the parents of one side will probably more than likely try to flag this video as copyright infringement, even though I'm critiquing their 14-year-old, which, yes, or 16-year-old. How old is Desmond? I have no fucking clue. Child. I'm critiquing their children. Actually, no, I'm not. Because think about it this way. What's the difference between the two? What's the difference? I will say that this particular clip with Soph reminds me of this.
Get out of my mind!
Not until you tell them both who I really am.
Alia.
But honestly, there's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. Why would I say that? Well, think of it this way. Our factions, if you will, our political factions, are pretty much all we argue about anymore. Christianity, no argument. Atheism stomped that to the curb. There's more atheists and atheism is on the rising. Most countries have become atheists. The only one that's reluctant is the United States for one good reason. Christianity has become a business. So there is a lucrative business to be had to being a preacher, and a successful one at that. Look at Joel Osteen, for example, or Pat Robertson, or the other crazy fucking bats that preach all day long about how gay is a sin and you choose to be gay and all this other shit, and they're just fucking retarded. But I want you to consider why these two are no different. Considering that we bitch and argue about politics all day long, one, Desmond, is a result of the SJW movement, of postmodernism, of saying that transgenderism is actually just a trend. It's not, it's a social construct, which means it's social acceptance and social ability. It has nothing to do with your biology or neurology, where gender dysphoria is a psychological disorder in which it feels like you should be a woman, but you're in a man's body, basically. At least from, that's the layman's explanation of it. It actually has a biological determined outcome because of the way puberty and other hormones act in the body. On the flip side, the potty mouth Soph, who's basically had a BuzzFeed article trying to yeet this person off the internet, because why not? BuzzFeed seems to think they're the fucking moral police of the universe. By the way, BuzzFeed, you can kiss my ass while you're at it, because you are the worst of the worst when it comes to reporting. Just put it out there. You are not a journalist wing. You are a propagandist outlet for your religion. Nothing more, nothing less. You are the Christian television network for leftist ideology. That's you at this point. Your BuzzFeed videos with all these weird fuckers that always show up. Your Pat Robinsons. The crazier you get, the bigger the spokesperson, the more akin to a Joel Osteen, a Pat Robertson, or other crazy fucker I see, do you become. And I don't see any difference between any of you. But I digress. Now, with Desmond being the product of social justice, parenting, the product of all genders, all fluid genders, this person can be trans if they decide to at 14 because they certainly know how sexuality works. They haven't even hit hormones yet, but you know what? Put them on hormone blockers, because biology is just a social construct. You're not biologically determined. Everything's a social construct, but you have to use biology to stop biological determinism, ironically through chemistry alteration of the human body. Therefore making you a hypocrite. Now the other side, with Soph. She's a potty mouth little freak. I haven't watched any of her videos. I only became aware of her because BuzzFeed decided to be a bitch about somebody on the internet and called them an alt-right darling baby. She's against Islam. I figured that part out with that one little clip. I've seen a few other things. I don't know about ultranationalism or white nationalism. I haven't watched any of her shit. But she is a product of the same ideology. The counterculture to social justice movements is the anti-social justice movements. Where they defend Islam, this other side is diametrically opposed to it. Where they are feminist allies, the other side is anti-feminist in every way, shape, or form. Even Meninist in some cases, although I think that's hypocritical to hold one side but not the other. You should be in the middle if you're going to be reasonable at all. One side is intersectional and all about every race under the sun, except for white people. The opposite end, all about white people, fuck everyone else. Two sides of the same coin. So, this is the result of parents stuck between these two ideologies, unable to reconcile that they are a spitting mirror image of one another. The result is it affects your children. And the way the internet works today, the day and age that we have today, you can see the results of your parenting at this point, because these kids are teens, they're 14, 15. They're the same age as my younger kids. This is the result of parenting from both of these ideologies. This is a good example, actually, ironically, of social constructionism, in the sense that you've pushed an ideology onto what would normally be determined by biology in Desmond's sense, where they basically are denying evolution and everything else under the sun. I can't imagine anything that they don't deny at this point. I've done videos where they've decided to swap words, for example, instead of saying that gender dysphoria is a variation, or no, I'm excusing. Intersex people, those that have more than XY chromosome, or they have a mix, they have a syndrome of some sort, those are variations within our species and not deviations from the species. That little slip of the tongue turns them into something different, meaning that they are an alternate species to the human species, the genome, the Homo sapiens that we are. No, they're Homo something or else, different, non-homo. No homo? Something homo. I'm pretty sure it's something out there. Either way, it's a result of them denying biology for all intents and purposes. Now, on the flip side, those that take the alternate stance, anti-social justice, anti-feminism, anti-intersectionality, anti-identitarian movement, all except for it's an easy slippery slope to go into that white identitarian movement, which means you're pretty much the same thing. And since every major outlet except for Fox News is taking a massive pile of shit on anybody that's white, you can see how that is pervasive throughout our society. In fact, so much so that, my kids that are the same age as Soph, as an example, they meme the fuck out of the social justice warriors. They have come home and literally made jokes that all their friends in school are making about social justice warriors and everything that they say. Like, literally, they were talking about, God, what the fuck was it? They were watching a show, and they said something like, your hair is purple, and they're like, oh, that's racist. Had nothing to do with fucking racism whatsoever, but, why not? Because everything's fucking racist to these people. So what you end up with is somebody that's probably anti-SJW, and it's obvious, by the way, that Sophie, whatever her name is, has an editor for her videos. She's not doing that shit on her own, because some of them are actually like PewDiePie high quality, which means they have to know a thing or two about editing, or they found a software to make it easier, like OBS Studio maybe. Slap some memes, I got some faders. That's some tricks that you've learned. My kids haven't caught on to that, and they're pretty damn sharp, so maybe. I think she has an editor. Probably what I think it is, actually, is probably an older brother. And the parents are like, yeah, go for it. That's pretty cool. You got 1 million subscribers? Hell yeah. That's going to pay for your college. That's probably where they're going with that, to be honest. And if it were my kid, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. If you got 800,000, she's almost 900,000 subscribers, thanks to BuzzFeed, by the way. Good for that Streisand effect. But that's kind of the point. They're two sides of the same coin. That it's the result of the parenting between these two factions of our political ideology that decided to argue that destroyed the Democratic Party, that split the left down the middle and gave pretty much dominant power to the right, even though we're just sitting back and, well, I shouldn't say we because I'm actually not right. I'm center left. Last time I did my political compass. More left than you would think, but not socialist left. Shut up, phone. At any rate, I thought it was interesting. You look at these two people, and you think, what went into raising these kids to the point that this is what they do now? One of them a stripper at a transgender club, grabbing money for dancing on stage, and everybody there thinks it's cute. I call it child exploitation. But, you know, that's just me. I have kids the same age, and I wouldn't do that to mine, so I'm passing judgment upon their parents. Maybe I should or shouldn't, but in all honesty, I wouldn't have told my kid they're transgender and dress them up like a freaking drag queen and pretend that they are so I can become rich and famous off my children. No, that's not me. Whereas the other side of it, parents are probably coming rich and famous when they're not coming rich and famous. I don't even know who Sophie's parents are. But same thing. They have become popular because they are the result of parents in their 30s probably, because they were 20s when this probably came out. I mean, it's been existing for a very fucking long time. So this is the result of all of them raising their kids to this point. They probably saw the shit when their kids are 5 or 6, so they've been watching a lot of the videos that are anti-social justice warrior, making fun of socialist idiots, watching Antifa get their shit kicked out of them because they're a bunch of pussies, all that stuff. And now you have a 14-year-old with a bad attitude, a really nasty potty mouth, and pretty much telling social justice to go shove it up their ass. And with help, of course. There's no fucking way she writes her own scripts and stuff like that. I'm pretty positive she has like a brother or her family or dad or mom or somebody that's helping her. More than likely, with the way that things are written, I would wager it's probably her dad helping her out on this shit, because I don't think mom would do that. Moms are a bit more protective than exploitive, except unless you're two mothers raising a trans. But you're two trans mothers, or however Desmond's family little structure works. Yeah. Whatever the fuck's going on over there. Yeah. Anyways, the comparison. The comparison is what I find interesting, because it is the result of continued effort over several years' time of this fight, this political fight between the left and right, watching everything go down. The Roe v. Wade, all the women's rights, all that shit, the social justice warriors coming out and speaking, the YouTube channels, everything blowing up, BuzzFeed and all those other fucking propagandist arms just belching out stupidity as far as the eye can see. I mean, this shit's been going on since the 80s, 90s. It really got pervasive in the 90s and early 2000s. So this is the result. This is what we get. And our children are going to continue the fight. Why? Because we raised them to think that way. Now, centrist kids, they're going to watch both sides and laugh. They're going to laugh at both of them. You're like, you're both fucking retarded. That's how my kids are right now. They laugh at both sides. Although my youngest son, he's done some weird things that are, like, he tries to make the memes, but the memes don't fit. I guess that's how you can put it. Either way, I just thought I'd point this out. I wanted to take that comparison. Now you know what it's like if you had children and you're raising them in this ideology and you think you're right and they think they're right. And now you have a direct comparison of the outcome of your children from this continued fight. Neither side looks fucking normal in my opinion. Both of them look kind of extreme. You know, one smears the labels with the other one. What the fuck do you expect? It's just going to continue. It's just going to continue. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this one. It's a little bit short, but that's okay, because I thought it was an interesting comparison, and I thought I'd throw my little stink on it, since I'm trying to be a lot more sarcastic in these videos and really just kind of cut loose to the way I used to be. And yeah, you know what? It lets me out. Release some anxiety on you plebs, because why not, right? So I'll see you next time, and auf Wiedersehen, mein Frau.
eat more and drink today. Good liquor.